click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the two-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 142. And for the first time, I think since about episode 100, or maybe 120, we did two. It was something like Two Lads, One Pod ages ago. But yeah, for the first time, we're guestless. So this is going to be slotting in just in the middle of the Northern Irish tour. So we've so far, we've had the podcasts from Jeremy McWilliams, Jonathan Ray, and the one that's going out today, although it'll be like last week when you listen to
the Burrows one, yeah.
It's the Burrows one. And then we're going to slot this one in, and we've got two more sort of Northern Irish tour ones to get in, which...
I was about to blurt out what that is, so we can't. It's we're playing with the time paradox again here, Chrissy, aren't we? That's the problem.
Both very much roads men, predominantly.
Yes.
Although, to be fair, both of them did very well on the short circuits as well, so a bit of a crossover, but they were both like cracking podcasts. So I've listened back to one of them and it was class, and the next one I'm really looking forward to as well. So you've got some good pods looking forward to. But yeah, we just thought we would sort of catch up with everyone really, because it's a while since we've just sat down and had a big crack. And
I feel like I'm about to interview you. Normally you're sitting there and you're sitting over there. It's too old school, Chrissy. It's uncomfortable, to be fair. So it's uncomfortable, young'un.
But yeah, we've both. Well, by the time this podcast comes out, I'm hoping, if everything goes to plan, that my announcement should be out probably on Friday, so a few days ago. So obviously, fresh to talk about it on the podcast, and also you've got a big announcement to make about which is I don't think it will have been announced anywhere officially by the time this podcast goes out. So it's
God, no. I've got a lot to organise. Never mind putting things out on FaceTube and all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, even before you go down the big news element, let's talk about what the hell have we been up to, Chrissy? There's been a lot on the plane, hasn't there?
I know.
You have got a list, and this is proper old school, and I'm looking at this list going, I'm going to end up fucking this up properly somehow. So, right, crack on, son. You go with the list.
So I think this is the longest gap that we've had. We're in Northern Ireland about 3 weeks ago, I would say.
Never.
3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. But this is pretty much the longest, the longest gap that me and Dom haven't done a podcast for. In that time, just been flat out. Obviously, we'll get onto all the suit bike stuff, but there's so much to sort of organise. And so whenever I've got a spare minute, I've been doing that. And with my other sort of part-time jobs, just been flat out, really. And this weekend, so we're recording this on a Sunday night. So yesterday, Saturday, we had our first Patreon flat track day.
What a laugh that was, mate.
And down at the Champions Flat Track Schools, if any YouTube watchers here have got the Pete Boast hoodie on, which thanks very much to Pete and Jackie for that.
I was about to say, if Pete and Jackie are watching this, they'll be thinking, why am I not wearing mine? I don't want to look like a dodgy married couple, just walking around wearing the same clothes, Chrissy, so we're going to have to stick with this. So, Pete, if you listen to this, I'm sorry, but I'll be wearing it down to London, which is... Hold on, is that... Back to the time paradox here, Chrissy. So that's this weekend, so this would have been out after blah, blah, blah. Anyway, yeah. I'm messing up the list here, Chrissy. I'm messing up the list.
But yeah, the flat track day, it was basically, we originally put it out to the patrons, and the idea, we had like 21 spaces. The idea was if it didn't fill up, then we could sort of offer it to the people just on Instagram, YouTube, that type of thing. But it actually got sold out straight away. And basically the format of the day, it was a flat track fun day. So we did some basic sort of drills in the morning. There was a wide variety of sort of experience from people who've done flat track. We've had speedway riders, road race riders, Tom, all kind of motocross riders, the lot. Full age of rangers. So in the morning we did some sort of basic drills and sort of shown flat track style, and then the afternoon was brilliant. So free practice 1, free practice 2, then we did a super pole session, which was 4 laps by yourself, which did sort of qualify, and then we got teamed up in groups of 5 and did an hour endurance race with pit stops and everything. But yeah, it was such a great day, and obviously it's funny with the patrons, it's very much like an online community where we do sort of...
It's borderline a cult, Chrissy. Let's face it.
We do kind of Zoom quizzes and catch-ups, and you feel like you know these people because you sort of get messages all the time and speaking to, they're asking good questions to the guests every week. But it's really nice to put a face to the name. And I'm going to be honest,
were you spooked at any time? like, people were telling you stuff from episode like 92, and you're like, how do you know that? You're like, you're speaking to essentially a stranger, and it was surreal because you're like, they know almost everything that you're going through, and you're like, I just sat there like that, looking at these, like going like that, going, I'm gonna have to start being more careful. But let's face it, I'm never going to be careful with what I say. But no, like you say, it was absolutely cracking day, and mind you, Peter's the colour drained out of his face when we all started to get going, didn't we? There was just that many varieties of like skill level. It was just chaos. We're just trying to kill each other.
Pleased to say as well, there was no injury. Although I think everyone had an aching left leg by the end of the day.
How is your leg?
Just the usual like ache in the groin.
Like usual, mate. I couldn't lift my leg. It was absolutely killing us, man. It was great crack. It's like the steel shoe. My God, I'm still limping. Just because I think the weight's on my foot, I look like I've got a club foot. I am from Hexham, like, so it does blend in with the atmosphere.
At lunchtime as well, we've got to give a special shout out to Sam Ward. Basically, everyone that was there got a chance to do the Colchester Kawasaki grip strength challenge, and the winner. Go on.
I know what I was about to say, because we literally had everyone in the room, and everyone there was competitive. There wasn't a single person that wasn't competitive, and everyone just shut up. And it was just like. It was like an extermination of mass, Chrissy, wasn't it? Everyone just queued up and had to go with this, and we were reading out their scores.
And also there was the Jonathan Ray signed Chasing the Racing cap up for grabs, so obviously everyone wanted to win it. And so it wasn't just the pride of being the highest score, it was also for the cap. And I've got to give a massive shout out to Sam Ward, who absolutely smashed every single person that was there, and also our full all-time list. So up until that point, Jonathan Ray was the highest with 13.6, and Sam got 15.
No, bear in mind, everyone will be thinking, how has he done that? No, he banged out 15, no problem whatsoever, twice over.
Mm-hmm. And as Dom alluded to just before, myself and Dom are down at the XL London show. By the time this podcast goes out, it's the end of that weekend, but it's the sort of biggest bike show in London, down at the XL, just it's in the sort of east part, in sort of near Canary Wharf, I think. And we're down there on the flat track bikes. There's, I think, about 8 of us racing. There's like a course right in the middle of the show with like grandstands and the lot. It's really, really good. Obviously, you did it last year and I came down to watch. And we're also taking the Chasing the Racing trailer down there as well. So it'll be a great chance to sort of meet some of our listeners and maybe introduce the podcast to people that have never seen it before. And we're taking that strength game down, and people can come in, get pictures, that type of thing. So really, really looking forward to that.
I couldn't agree more, and it's going to be... last time I was down there, right, they already pre-picked the teams. I'm kind of panicking now. This is going to be like a flashback to middle school for me, because I never got picked for football, ever. So you got John McGuinness and Peter Hickman, and they're going to pick everyone else first, and then I'm just going to be left on the bench. I can... It's going to be emotional, this one. But
so the riders are... So there's me and you, John McGuinness, Peter Hickman, Danny Webb, Charlie Nesbitt, Tom and Tim Neve.
So Tom and Tim Neve are built for this sport. They'll
dominate everyone.
Like, we're going to have to take a front wheel off the pair of them. Mm-hmm. Mind you, I was absolutely crying, laughing. Did you see that, MCN released the newspaper?
They got
the wrong way around. So there's Tim Neve said he's won the National Superstock Championship.
I see that.
Oh, God, I can imagine with their dry sense of humour. That was a good one in the Neve household. Mm. But no... It's I'm trying to think. Danny Webb, he's doing a fair bit of flat track. There's no mugs there. Hickman goes over to California. He does that Texas Tornado camp.
Yeah,
he's not a mug. John's a serious talent on anything you put him on. So really, I'm going to be the one left in the dirt here, because you can fly around on one of them things, Chrissy.
A big shout out to John. Actually, he did a bit of a shout out for us the other day, didn't he? With his his brother Kurt?
His brother Kurt. I wearing one of our Chase the Racing hats.
It was good crack that.
But he's having a dig at the price. But we've got to run a show here, John. We've got to run a show here.
Should we, anything else? Have you been up to anything else last few weeks?
Just bloody storm damage, mate. I could sit here and whinge about tree work all day in, day out. I tell you what, that's one thing I've been thinking about, getting the little violin, but I've just been thinking about like the future element side of things, and like, I was taking the piss a bit out of Sam and being a lorry driver, but I'm booked in for me class 1, because realistically with my job I've been absolutely flat stick with it, and I'm thinking to myself, really, there's not many people in my game who get past 60 or 70. Like, definitely, I don't know a single 70-year-old woodcutter. I'm just thinking, if I'd like make a right mess of myself this year, and I touch wood for the love of God, but I think it's something I was thinking of the other day. It's like, people don't really think of that element of it. You can't, you wouldn't go racing bikes if you thought you were going to get injured. But actually, if I do knock myself and going back to work, it'll take a long time to be able to go like put a climbing harness back on and start running up and down trees like I've been doing for like 7-day weeks now, and I'm like, Jesus wept. And obviously, that's been spurred on to the news later on. It's a bit like, the money in the pot. I'm thinking, I'm going to go into a lot of debt. I've never been in debt when we're racing in my life, but I'm going to end up jumping down the rabbit hole with money. And it's been quite scary with that, because like I've been raised in the fact of like, don't spend something that you don't have. And a lot of people, like especially our age, Chrissy, people forget that, don't they? You can get everything on credit cards and ticky and bookie and everything. And it's like, that's why I'm driving around in bangers and using shit. Like, this is the nicest hoodie I own, and I got it literally from a charity shop. I'm always looking after the money, and I'm shitting myself, to be fair, mate. Proper shitting myself, like being like chucking money at it like I'm gonna.
They've just dropped all the requirements as well for you used to have to do your class 2, then build up to your class 1, where you can go straight into your class 1 now. And with there being a shortage as well, the money is very decent at the moment. But yeah, it's weird at the moment. Obviously, like the price of all of energy is like massively going. The world's a bit of a funny place at the moment, isn't it?
I tell you, like you say, like with the COVID thing, it's like you don't have to do your class 2, so it's literally half in the price, but still an expensive. It's $2.5 grand. Mm-hmm. $2.5 grand to put up for a license. But the thing is, you've got it for life.
Can I just use this opportunity to say I would absolutely love me class 1. So if there's anyone out listening that could do us a bit of a discount on a to do my class 1, a little bit of a discount, drop us an email, and 100% get booked on.
I'm going to double that, because if you're getting it, I want it as well. That's not on that son. That's not on. But I've done my medical. Somehow they kept drug testing this, and I kept passing it. And they're like, I'm a medical marvel. They're like, look, son, there's something wrong with you. I'm like, I'm fully aware of that, mate. But
I had a weird dream last night where I was just, I've never done drugs, and I had a real vivid dream last night that like people were taking these I don't know why I'm telling you this, but people were taking these pills. So I had half of one, and I was just like off my nut. When you wake up in the morning, you're not actually sure. Like, honestly, it was surreal. Like, but anyway, a little bit of a side note. Shall we get on to the news?
Yeah, might as well go for it, Chrissy. I could see the list is scratching there. I thought we were going to go down the old Drugs Avenue party in there. I thought, here we go.
I will, for anyone that obviously like follows like on social media or whatever, you'll have hopefully seen in the last few days that's been announced that I'm going to be doing my full debut season in the British Superbike Championship this coming year in 2022, and sort of rejoining with Crow Performance on a BMW. And very similar sort of team to when we won the Superstock Championship back in 2020, and stepping up to the big boy class. And it's obviously a huge commitment. We'll get into like the details in a second, but I just want to say it's from being a very young lad watching on sort of BBC, watching the BSB, it's been an absolute dream to get to superbikes, and I just feel like it's the right time in my life in terms of like I've not sort of settled down. I've in terms of like commitments, I'm not like with anybody. I haven't got a mortgage, that type of thing. And I just feel like
you've probably got a few kids kicking around that you don't know of, but it's
if I don't do it now,
curly hair, glasses, like, hello daddy.
if I don't bite the bullet and do it now, I just feel I'm kind of worried that I would just end up like like if I did Superstock, say, again, and then get to the end of the year and I've won that championship, I feel like I want to step up and test myself against the very best teams and the best riders in the country. And there was no sort of suitable sort of rides available, and it's been the best year I've ever had racing in 2020 for lots of reasons, but all the people that are involved are there for the right reasons, all sort of pulling together. And it's a brilliant group of people. I really believe in everyone that's there. I've got a hell of a lot of faith in Phil and the whole Crow Performance team for preparing the bikes. And like I say, it's a massive step. It's a complete adventure. Like I say, I'll go into the sort of ins and outs of how the whole thing's going to work later on in the podcast. But yeah, I really, really can't wait. And I've been... Obviously, to make it work, you asked earlier, like what we've been up to in the last few weeks. Over the last weeks and even month or so, I've been just flat out sort of getting in contact with all of my personal sponsors and approaching new sponsors, and just every year I usually have like my helmet and say like 3 spaces on my leathers that I can kind of like sort of barter with to get personal sponsors, where it's I've obviously got like a much bigger sort of canvas to offer, and in terms of like packages and whatever, we've got essentially we've got control of like the full bike, the garage board, and obviously leathers, helmet, and also my parents' contribution to help us out this year, they've committed to buying either like some sort of truck, or my dad's wanting to get a double-decker bus.
Does he need a driver?
Yeah, he will do.
I'm looking for a job.
He's booked in for his class 2 actually for this reason.
Right.
But like a sort of big. I think in an ideal situation we would have a big chasing the race and red double-decker bus, and turn it into like a hospitality unit, and have it like downstairs as a sort of commercial kitchen, and in that way be able to offer sponsors like proper corporate hospitality at the weekends. But yeah, like I say, we'll get into the ins and outs of it, and I've got a few for anybody that sort of wants to get involved, whether it's sort of small businesses, medium businesses, kind of just individuals wanting to help out. I've got loads of different sort of packages, and very similar to sort of 2020, I can be very transparent with all of the costs and exactly what I need to come up with. And obviously, I'd be incredibly grateful for anybody that can help us out. But yeah, I've got loads of good ideas, but less about me, and we'll...
No. I think okay. I think we should go through what you're doing at the moment, because even me sitting here, and there'll be people listening to this and watching this on YouTube going, "Oh, ask that, ask this," and we're guaranteed to miss something. You're guaranteed to miss something.
Yeah,
and it's a bit like, I think one of the simplest questions is obviously it's self-explanatory. The BMW. Why that bike? Is it solely because of what you've done in Stock 1000, or is it the team element? Would you go with another bike? Or?
Yeah, it's very, very much linked with Crow Performance as a business. Is mainly they do other sort of bikes, but they're sort of experts in the BMW field. So that kind of leads us in that direction. And obviously the history of winning the Superstock Championship on that bike. I will be on a slightly, obviously Superstock to Superbike. There's lots of different changes, but going. When I did the Superstock, it was on the S1000, where this one will be the M1000, and that's in getting built at the moment. We're in terms of super bike spec. There's like a massive range of kind of what you can choose, and with it being my first year in the championship, I think we're being very realistic in terms of kind of our ambitions, and in terms of costs, it can very much escalate. So we're going for like the sort of best with the better sort of the best value for money bike type of thing, but being sort of sensible with what we choose.
Yeah. So let's go back to that ambition element of it. So let's jump on that side of things. The first thing you brought up. So what are your this is literally interview. Yeah. I'm enjoying this element.
We'll switch it around in a bit. But
no, we're going down this side of it. But it's a case of so your ambition side of it. Go for it, mate.
So I was just looking on the BSB website there. So far there's 26 entries, and there's still loads of people still to enter. So I think we're going to have a grid of well into the 30s. Now
that's a strong grid. That
there'll definitely be 30 on the grid.
It's always been.
No, there's usually like 20. I think if you look at most timesheets from last year, there'll be like 23, 24-ish, something like that. Yeah, so there's loads extra people in Superbikes this year coming.
Right.
In terms of realistic targets, I think at the start, with it being completely like a new venture for myself and the team, I think if we can start by sort of finishing races, getting some experience, and if I can get some points, get a top 15 right in the middle of the field. Obviously, every race there's going to be a few people that have mechanicals, a few crashes, and then if you can beat like a good 10 riders, you'll be sort of nicking some points. And I think if we can start the season around that sort of area, around the sort of 15th mark, I think that'll be a real good start. And then it'll just be a case of getting used to the bike. There's lots of upgrades that we can, if sort of the finances allow, and depending on where we are, there's lots of sort of upgrades that we can go for. And yeah, I think just realistically, if I can sort of be beating some of the established sort of, if you like, full-time superbike riders as a privateer, I think that'll be absolutely incredible. And it's funny, I mean, I have been in BSB before. I did a few one-off races back in 2018, so years ago. I remember back then I had such a limited understanding of the bike, how it worked, settings, suspension, the chassis. I remember sitting in sort of debriefs, and they would turn around like full team and like and asking us questions, and I'm just thinking, well, I'd literally had no testing on the bike. I'd never been on slicks. I'd never been on a super bike, and I'd go out in free practice, and then trying to like sort of set a bike up from there. I just had no clue. And back then, I never actually finished out of the points. I either got points or crashed. But yeah, I got like a 10th, 11th, 12th. So I think...
But hold on, even looking through them timesheets, then you were like beating Mackenzie, like the current champ, weren't you? Is that correct?
Come on,
blow your own horn a little bit here. Come on, even then.
Some decent riders. Obviously the timesheets are there for people to see. But yeah, so
go have a look.
I think being realistic, if I can kind of qualify, inside the top 20 and be nicking points early on in the season, I think that'll be great.
So talking about, when you had that superbike ride, with them, we're talking about the whole give me that team name. Halsall. Is it Halsall? Halsall. Was that like a top end bike?
On Halsall, it was strong,
as far as Suzuki are concerned, what they could turn out.
Yeah, it was decent. Back then, it was when Bradley Ray and Richard Cooper were on the Bill Base bikes, and actually that year, I think I've definitely beaten Gino, who was on the OMG bike at the time. Beat him most of the races that I've finished, if not all of them. And I was consistently, I'm pretty sure I beat Brad a good few times as well.
Yeah,
and Richard. So I don't think it wasn't like the best bike on the grid, but it was very well put together. Excellent team, some really sort of experienced people in the team, and I did learn a lot in the few rounds that I did. But like I said, I never did any testing. And it was very much just like dip my toes in.
Yeah,
I would say.
Oh no, because it's interesting. Because like what I was saying, like that Suzuki would have been one of the best. Like as far as upgrades, like you were like talking about beforehand. That Suzuki would have had all of them. So you were briefly discussing with me before we started this episode. Is like let's talk about the fork options. And like you're going down the front end forks of like the fork. Like how much are the forks? You tell me. Tell the listeners.
Yeah, and
this is the comparison in bikes. You know what I mean?
There's the one thing where I don't know in detail about the budget is the bike. To be fair, but I am aware that there's lots of options, and we've kind of strategically picked ones that we think are good value for money, and kind of so just in general in super bikes you can go for forks that are like sort of around the sort of £4,000-5,000, and then you can get ones that are like 10,000-11,000, and you've got to be really confident that they're going to be much better. And same with like engine specs, and you can always upgrade things, but it's that thing of like the law of diminishing returns, and you've kind of got to be realistic. So obviously, in terms of the budget to build the bike, you can get carried away in super bikes. So yeah, I'm confident my bike will be, strong.
Oh God, it'll be definitely a strong bike. But like, let's talk like you were talking about. We're always going to compare it against the R1 or the Ducati, aren't we? Like them being the best bikes and the best teams and stuff like that. But being a privateer, it's just that it's always that one thing, isn't it? Budget, and that's the one thing you're desperately going against. And like you were talking about with your ambitions, they are like very realistic. And the thing is, you've never been one of those riders that have gone, I'm going to be in the top 3, top 5. you will always deliver on the day. You're a quietly confident lad. So you're saying top 15, I'm top 10. I'm just going to actually blow your horn for you, son. That sounded so worse than the show I've got out there. But no, it's a case of you've definitely got it to get it going, haven't you? But it's
well, to be fair, you never know. And if you pick any sort of race from superbikes and you look at, it's very difficult to, like, pretty much everyone in superbikes is beating each other. So, you know, it's very, you cannot just say, oh, I've beaten him before, so therefore I'm going to finish here.
Yeah,
you've got to be you've got to be realistic. But at the end of the day, there's nobody in that field which is kind of untouchable in terms of, like, obviously there's some incredibly top class bike racers. The level is unbelievably high, and obviously I think by now there'll have been a few more announcements. So, you know, it's like, it is the best domestic series in the world.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of the established top riders I've battled with, you know, numerous times, and I don't think there's any reason once we get, you know, set up that we can't be reasonably competitive. So yeah, it's pointless. It's pointless, like, saying, I'm going to do this. We're talking about this earlier. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, if we turn up the first round and we're, 25th, it's a starting point at the end of the day. In the long term, I would much rather be finishing 25th than actually finishing again and then building on that.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter really where we are at round one, as long as we start building and get more competitive as the year goes on. And I'm going to have some really great people around. We've got some, in terms of the sponsorship options, we've got loads of great packages. A lot of the superbike teams are obviously set up, and there's lots of massive costs involved in, it's professional. People are working full time on wages and whatever, and the costs, are huge. In terms of our team, it's very much similar in Superstock, lots of sort of volunteers and everyone sort of pulling together really. And because we don't have a title sponsor as such, it's basically like an accumulation of personal sponsors.
Yes.
So I've just rang all my personal sponsors, and I can give them a lot more, being in superbikes, a lot more branding, bike,
television time, everything, yeah,
all that sort of stuff. And so just sort of asked if any of them can to put a bit more in, which a lot of them kindly have, and also managed to get some new sponsors on board, which will be announced like on my social medias over the next few weeks. But yeah, sort of working hard. We've still got loads of like areas where people can sort of sort of product sponsors and whatever that we need to sort out, and we're busy working on that at the moment. But we're also I've got packages pretty much all the way through. So like I've got some sponsors that put, around the sort of 1,000, and we've got some like branding and cool options with hospitality for around that sort of money. And then also building up to like sort of $5,000 and 10 grand sort of packages, which obviously comes with a hell of a lot for 10 grand. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We've sort of just basically put my heart and soul into it, and whatever happens at the end of the season, sort of look back, and I'm definitely not going to get to an age and think I wish I'd done that. I'm kind of putting my balls on the line a little bit, and maybe sort of biting off a little bit more than I can chew, but you've just got to give it a go sometimes, haven't you? And do you know what? I've spoke to so many people like that I really respect, who have got their own businesses, or they've done in different walks of life. And I've kind of, over the last few months, kind of been toying with the idea, and there's been so many people that I've sort of talked about it, and they've just said, just do it. They can tell straight away, like, the passion, and lots of, like I said, a few of my real close personal sponsors that when they were sort of around my sort of age, left good jobs and set up their own businesses, and everyone around them was saying, don't do this, you'll fail, you do this. And they've sort of, and they were saying the same thing to me. So I'm under no illusions, it's a huge amount of money that we need to raise, and all of the effort and everything pulled together, but there's lots of people out there doing it. And I'm just things in life in general, I've got very much of the attitude of, if someone else can do it, I can do it. So kind of it's gonna be a challenge, but it's going to be a huge adventure. And I will just mention as well, I was saying about the sort of sponsorship opportunities and for like the packages. I'm also going to it's not an original idea. You do something similar, and I know lots of other people do something similar. But I am going to be starting some sort
OnlyFans.
of
Good lad.
a supporters club, and I came up. It's quite unique that the rider has control over more than just, like I said, the helmet and
I
something.
was about to say, because the one thing that people have got to get clear is like you are not paying for a ride. You and Crow Performance, Gabriel, Phil, Crow, all your you're building a team together.
Yeah,
that is the different element of this.
it's very much like joining forces, and
of course it is. And you've
Crow
got
Performance are building and providing a bike and putting a hell of a lot of time and effort into all the workshop stuff. In terms of hours throughout the year, it's like a huge commitment from Crow Performance, and none of this could happen without them.
Yeah,
and people involved, and now obviously I'm looking after the running costs and financing the running costs, which obviously are huge, and I've never raised anything like that sort of money, but very much the attitude of let's just give it a go and see. I know we'll manage it somehow, and we've got obviously like a proper plan in place, So. I was just going to say, for individuals who wanted to sort of help us out, I'm going to set up a supporters club, and I was just it's unusual that the rider has control over, or some control over, sort of the branding and like garage boarding, for example.
Yeah.
But I am going to set aside when I design all the garage boarding and what it looks like.
Who's doing your garage board for you?
That's one of the things I need to sort out in terms of buying it. But
right, there's another thing. I'll get in touch.
Yeah, I'm gonna set one of the boards aside to do like a sort of a bit of a fan wall type of thing, like a supporters club. And like I said, it's not an original idea, but I'm going to give up the people the opportunity to send in pictures of either them or the kids or whatever, and have like 5 centimetre by 5 centimetre squares. So it'll be in the garage for the full BSB season, and set up like so if people buy a square, that can be in a Facebook group, and then there'll be sort of giveaways and like very much like live streams and stuff, very much helping us out. But so I'll be doing a square for like 150 quid and be in the sports club. I know that's a lot of money for an individual, but obviously I've got a hell of a lot of money to raise, and for anyone that is in the position to help us out, if you just like either send us a message or email us or whatever, and I'll get that set up. I was also going to do so if we're doing little squares, I was going to do a 3 by 3 square, so it would be like a 15 centimetre by 15 centimetre square, so like a big one, which would be like really noticeable on TV. And maybe do that for like if each square is 150, like maybe do that for like £1,000.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a massive amount of money, but I think it'd be really cool to like see your face on the TV and stuff and be in the garage. So I've got loads of little packages like that for people to help out as individuals, and then as businesses from as little as 1,000 up to obviously. There's no upper limit, but like big packages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And with the hospitality, we'll have a proper bus, proper real good quality hospitality. It'll be great. I've got some good ideas about how to set that up.
Do you know how many people will be praying for this double-decker bus?
It's happening. Now? It's happening. My dad's committed to it.
That's actually fully committed now.
Yeah, 100%.
That is absolutely brilliant. A double-decker bus. Mm-hmm. And bear in mind, Karen, Wild Cars, she can't half cook, so like they're dedicating all their time to doing that as well.
Yeah, and in terms of the to be fair, I've had a few people messages already asking about sort of jobs and wanting to like help out and volunteer.
Brilliant. I'm
going to have lots of sort of jobs that I'm going to need a hand with. So again, if anyone's listening that maybe not in a financial position to contribute, but maybe has the time, that's obviously a massive hand, and we are going to need people to help out with like the in the garage and also hospitality and looking after things. So I've got a hell of a lot to organise, and it's that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But yeah, really, really looking forward. We've got, in terms of like product sponsors as well, there's obviously various things I need, but for anyone that is interested in helping, just get in touch.
I'll tell you what, like going down the technical element, you're really restricted with this bike. as far as testing, aren't you? How many times are you actually going to be out on that thing before you go racing?
So just be doing the BSB tests. That's what I'm saying. Like the beginning of the season, there's really like, I'm not putting myself under any pressure whatsoever. First few rounds, just get bedded in. But in terms of testing, I won't be doing any Spanish testing or like European testing. And at the moment, I'm not planning on doing anything else but the BSB test. I'm not even sure with the rules if you're allowed to do anything else other than the BSB test, but that doesn't particularly worry us. A lot of the time when I've been to Spain, you're flying out there in the sunshine and things, and then you come back to like a wet and
cold
windy England, yeah. And it's very, it's happened a few times where people have dominated Spanish testing and then not being able to replicate, and vice versa. There's been times where I remember one year Taz got the bikes really late, and Iden and Farmer, pretty much the first time they rode them was at round one, and they managed fine. So yeah, it's one of them things. I'm going up against the best riders and the best teams. So just kind of realistic about it.
Bloody hell, fair play, mate. It's terrifying even just sitting across from you, because like the stress levels that you're going to go through, it's unreal. But like you say, you're in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say.
That's it, yeah. And I will be doing, I'm going to start a thing on across my social media for sponsor Spotlight Sundays. So every Sunday I'll be sort of doing a spotlight feature on one of my sponsors. And that'll be a great chance for like people who are helping us out, be able to sort of explain what they do as a business and that sort of type of thing. But we've had Alan Towell's back involved, massively involved with the team, and he's been a huge help in terms of sorting things out and sourcing things.
Good lad.
I'm always on the phone. He's working his socks off to try and help us make it happen. And obviously all the Crow Performance like Gabriel. I've got a very close friend of mine, Ian Stanton, who's been working his socks off behind the scenes, as well as so many other people that are trying to pull all the strings together. So yeah, it's it's a massive adventure, and I have probably bitten off a lot more, but a massive amount. But I'm so excited about it.
Anything? Okay, and this is massively putting you on the spot, but now that you've released news on the show, is there anything like sitting here right now that you need direct help with? Like, is it getting an awning? Is it getting like anything daft like that you think I need to get that done?
Yeah, there's loads of things that we need to buy in terms of like, even just like in terms of the garage, there's loads of superbike specific things like the tire rack that you need, like sort of 10 wheels on things.
Right.
10 or 5 or 6 sets of tire warmers. There's lots of costs, like,
and you have to get all the tire warmers, you have to get the tire racks and stuff like everything.
Yeah,
right?
all the garage out, obviously the garage board, and I've got a few people that I need to speak to, but I'm gonna try and either purchase or hire or get us sponsored. I'm looking at like Luton vans with the tail down, so we're not going for like an Arctic lorry type of thing. It'll be like a modest Luton van for all the garage equipment. Again, any of the things I'm mentioning, if anyone can help, obviously get in touch, and or even put us in touch with people to get a deal or whatever. And then obviously in terms of the hospitality, we wouldn't need to get a big awning and put on the bus, and a commercial kitchen. I think my dad's got his eye on a few buses, but we do need to purchase a double-decker bus. Anyone for that? There's so many things. There's so many ways people can help out. And even as much as just like sharing things and that.
Because a lot of people, in my experience, I've always personally found it really, really hard to go up to someone and go, look, this is my race and I need to get sponsorship in for that. And what I've found easier and what people like tend to prefer is like buying something for you. In my experience, so it's like a bit like a tire rack. I wouldn't even know how much a tire rack is. I've got 2 arms. I carry my tires like that. But how much would a tire rack be? At a guess, off the top of your head, without properly price, it'd be a few. With the aluminium, there'd be a fair few quid. So even like, let's call it £1,000, because with electronic plugs and everything like that, if there's anyone out there that wants to buy Chrissy a tire rack,
there's
loads of things like that. You know what I mean?
There's lots of companies I need to still get in touch with in terms of and see what sort of prices they can do things for. But yes, I've got everything.
Well, any aluminium welders out there, they can bang one up. That'll be awesome.
Do you know? Can you remember? I had a podcast called The Spreadsheet from 2020. We've got exactly the same, but it's a much more in detail spreadsheet, and it's obviously that's got pretty much everything on. And just kind of working our way through and sort of ticking things off. Obviously, tire bill's huge for super bikes. I can't remember if it's like 9. I think it's 11 rears and 9 fronts, something like that. But yeah, it's huge. And yeah, just kind of working our way through. But like I say, I don't want to go through each and every sponsor that's come on board in this podcast, but if you check out my socials over the next few months, I'll be putting things on. Also, I won't announce it now, but I am changing. I'm staying same leathers, but I am changing helmets, so that I'll be putting a post out on that.
I was about to blurt that out. I'm glad you said that. I was like,
Well, yeah, I've got a few things, but anyway, that's. But thanks very much for listening to me ramble on, and I'm looking for. I tell you what, I will just say one last thing. I would love to. I know it's quite common at the moment, but I would absolutely love to put some sort of YouTube series to sort of maybe like a round by round thing, not like a weekly thing. Maybe just like have like a YouTube thing of all the behind the scenes stuff.
Mint idea
for the 11 rounds and the testing. And again, in an ideal situation, I've got like, for example, Dave, who made the film.
Yeah.
I'd absolutely love to turn around and sort of be able to finance a full professional thing.
Yeah.
But I've obviously got to be realistic with the budget. But yeah, if anyone can help with anything along those lines, there's. I literally, in terms of like staff, if you like, for a race weekend, it's a huge operation. So I am going to need a lot of help. But yeah, I know a lot of lovely people, and I'm hoping that a few of them might want to help out.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I tell you what, though, if there's that would be good, that isn't it? Someone could get on and do like help out with the vlog and do the film and everything like that for you. That would be really good. Mm-hmm. Really, like you say, it's people have done that before, but then you think they've got a massive purse string behind it. So it's a little bit different. So I'm going to put the plead out for you, son. I'm really hoping someone out there, there'll be, if someone's in college or in training or anything like that, say, this is a really good story to follow, I think, anyway. So
I've got Lundy on the job helping us out with sourcing a few things as well. So he's working on some stuff as well. But yeah, I think that's kind of enough about my news. And you've been in a real similar sort of position over the last few months, over the last few months where we've been kind of discussing, you're very much sorted with your smaller bikes, and you've been looking around for the last few months and sort of seeing what's available on the roads. Obviously, the last 2 years, the big events have all been cancelled to COVID, but the year before that, was such a brilliant year, just getting top 10 in the scene here, like really establishing yourself. And everything's just been quiet road racing for the last few years, and then getting back in touch with people. And obviously, do you want to? People already know about your lower classes, but do you want to just run through your sort of stable of bikes and what you're going to be doing this year?
Yeah, so it's a case of we've hit the ground running really this year. It's a case of I'm very, very, very lucky that I'm still on board with the Counting Racing team, and we're racing Kawasaki 600 and Kawasaki Super Twin. But there's a lot of moving parts, put it that way. So it's stuff like with the TT concerned, and even the Northwest 200 are concerned. It's like the regs haven't been fully released on like the Super Sport. So we've got a 600, but coming to the TT, are you allowed to run 636s? Are you allowed to run 765s? Are you allowed to run like higher capacity bikes like they do in the Worlds? So we've still got our hands tied on that side of things because we're trying to figure out where to spend the money, because Jesus, man, 2019, it's like a lifetime ago, and it's like, I'm not the only one, but being a pure roads man, it has hindrances massively on that side of things. But yeah, we just gotta wait. We're in February now, mate. Mm-hmm. February, and it's going to be May. Well, at the beginning of May, really. Let's call it the beginning of May. We're going to be at the Northwest, and it's like we don't even know what we're going to be putting in the chassis. Is it going to be a 636? Is it not? It's just it's a bloody nightmare. And then the good thing, the accountants are very much similar to the Crow Performance, where it's like I'm definitely not paying for a ride, but I put all my money in. Fran puts all his money in. Chloe puts some of her money in, and then Neil puts all his money in. You're thinking it's just a family effort. And going to the events like that, we budget it. Say on 3 bikes, we're budgeting that on 10 grand a meeting, which compared to British Superbikes, you're spanking that no problem in a weekend. But when you think for a little privateer team like us on the roads, it's a lot of money to find. But as far as the big bike option, the biggest problem is since 2019, people had their seats confirmed for the 2020 season, and a lot of teams, but they haven't needed the move, have they? You know, it's a case of like, all right, well, the seat's still there. We've got everything prepped and ready to go. But behind the scenes on a lot of teams, there's been a lot of moving parts. You know, people are starting to get itchy feet, and there's a lot of different, well, dynamics change. Like a lot more people are interested in the Yamaha R1. You know, there's a few things change with the BMWs, like the Honda element. And it's like, there's a couple of people who haven't actually fully announced what they're doing yet. Like, as far as the big hitters are concerned, and you think, well, what's going on that side of things? But I've spoken to a lot of people, and that's something I've never done before. I've never, ever had, quite frankly, the confidence to actually go, you know what, I'm going to ring them. Because the worst thing they can say is no. I'm thinking, right, bollocks to it. So I've rang a few people. People would now just tell us who you've rang. And I'm like, nah, it's not yet anyway. Don't worry, I'll blurt it out later on. But at the moment, I'm not going to. And, but it's all come down to it. Like I say, Chrissy, we're in February and I'm going to buy my own big bike. Again, it's a case of nothing's on the table. Like, you know, as far as running a new competitive bike. And this is going to be a bit of a shock, but I'm going to end up running a BMW again as well. I'll probably end up on an S1000RR because it's 10 grand more to go down the M option, but the M option is a stocker, so I won't be getting a superbike, but I can run a stocker in the superbike classes as well. So trying to put that together is a fair bit more. But the difference between me and you is you're trying to build a full superbike infrastructure. You know, I'm very, very lucky that I've got the Countons on board, and they've already got the awning set up there, which is brilliant. But I'm going to try and buy my own awning, like, you know, one of them instant pop-up shelters or something on those lines, and separate it off, because I'm going to be buying a bike with one of my sponsors as well. So he'll be putting half his money in, I'll be putting mine, and then I'll have to find the running costs. And I've got some really, like yourself, good personal sponsors, you know, like the Hay family. They're fully behind us on that side of things, which is great. And yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm shitting myself with the BM. I am, because I know the bike's absolutely brilliant. That they are absolutely brilliant. Like, you know, look what you did on them, and, you know, look what Hickman's doing, you know, for the roads element. They are a fantastic package, but it's the thing I'm fighting on the uphill battle is the technology side of it. That's the truth. You know, it's like, it's being able to have that infrastructure there to be able to check the bike over and run it properly. And that's something that you need to rely on now. And like, the good thing is, with you doing the Crow Performance, you've got Crowy there. You know what I mean? He's practically German himself now, isn't he? You know, he knows that much like about it, and he's got a very close relationship with Alpha. But this is the problem. I'm racing against Crowy on the roads, and, you know, don't get me wrong, you know, everyone's there to help each other out. But going there, that's my only worry with the BM. It's that technology element of it, but they are a strong, reliable bike.
And in terms of to get your licenses before the Northwest and the TT, do you have to do a few club races or something?
So they actually haven't released that side of things on the ACU. So normally you have to do this is testing this. You have to have 10 signatures every year to go to the Isle of Man, but the TT, once you've done it, that counts as 2, or no, I think it counts as 4, I believe. So and then you have to get two days in the new year. So I'm going to be doing the Northeast Club are back on the cards, which is great. They've come out the woodwork again. They did the safe option with the COVID years. Have just kept the heads down, but now that it's come back, they have released their calendar. So they're doing the the Northeast Club are doing East Fortune twice, but begin the year, it's like in the April time. Go on their social media to find out the exact date, but they're going to Croft, and I'm looking forward to getting back there. But I'll do them 2 meetings, and that gets where the signatures ready for 2022.
Class.
Which is brilliant. So in theory, I could do that meeting on the big bike and then park it up.
Right.
But like I was saying, yeah, I'm a little bit on that shit your pants fence, really, because like everyone I'm competing against, they've got some brass, or if they don't have brass, they're just chucking it at the wall like what we're doing.
And in terms of the big bike, so if in an ideal situation you've got, say you do Croft, maybe another club race, you go Northwest, TT, Ulster, Macau. If it's on?
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely. I'll definitely go to Macau. But I'm not sure if I'll take my own bike.
Right, or maybe get a T. Yeah.
I would like to go with a different T. And the reason I'm saying that is it's just obviously that extra expenditure. And it's like, I've always been pay-as-you-go rider.
Yeah.
And like, I'm having to find, well, I'm going to have to beg Nat West to loan us the money to go get the big bike myself. But
How is any other big events that I've missed off there? Or was that
no,
all
I'm
of it?
trying to think. Really, it's a case of like,
And around that, there'll be like sort of Scarborough.
you see, Scarborough don't run big bikes.
Yeah, sorry,
stuff
on
like that. Yeah, so
I meant on the 600s, like all the other stuff.
Yeah. So it's a case of we'll be doing the classic TT, Armoy, the Scarboroughs if they get up and going on that side of things. Yeah, mainly it's a full roads element of it. But I'll be the BSB this year as much as it is absolutely amazing. I just can't afford it. We're like focusing on the roads back on it. But I'll tell you what. I was actually speaking to Crow when we were down at Peter Bose's place, and it's a bit like, how do we normally do this? You know, with the tight timetable of just being able to go to the Northwest. But lucky for us, with the way the calendar lies this year, there's a 2-week gap between the TT. Normally it's a week gap, and that gives us a lot of time. Because to be blunt, like if I shit an engine at the Northwest, it's not a great big turnaround, and if you have a crash or anything like that, it's a bit like you've got to do it. But the way the events lie, normally, I love the Northwest, I love the crack and everything, but I'm going to have to do it this year. It's always been a luxury for me to do that. I've only done it twice, and it's always been like, I've got to focus on the TT, but the way everything's starting to come round, and when you look at the calendar, especially being like the accountants are from Yorkshire and everything at the beginning of the year with like no limits and Thundersport and everything on that side of things, it's all right down at the bottom or right across like Silverstone and like where's the one, that horrible slippy track, far out, give me a name. You go down halfway and then you go right across, man.
Walton Park?
No, the other way, east.
Snetterton,
aye, that way. So everything's like a country mile away. So, and I tell you what, like yet again, speaking of Crowe, he was saying that the Silverstone one with no limits sold out in 24 hours.
Wow.
That just shows how many people are keen to get going again. But as far as like our track time, it's all looking strong for the BM. I'm very confident with the 600 and Super Twin, you know, as far as the prep, because the accountants are doing it. You know, I generally believe if I didn't hop on the Twin, like if I had one meeting on the Twin, I'd be over the moon with that.
Yeah.
I would be. Like that bike is, I trust that team that much and everything like that. I get on it and just off I go on it.
Could I just jump in and ask? You mentioned about the 600 and the 636.
Yeah.
So if they say it's an open book, so it's your choice, 600 or 636, which one would you prefer?
For the roads?
Yeah. 636.
Really? Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, you know, the mad thing is with the 636, it's like, it's a 36 oversight, but the mad thing is the power doesn't, the 600 and the 636 share the same piston. The piston size is the correct, but it's the stroke. Mm-hmm. Now, that's what Jack Kennedy was struggling with massively, was like the pickup out the corner. So the R6 can actually drive out the turns. But once you've got the inertia of a 636 going, it's nigh on the same, like a tuned R6. Not stock, you know, if they're both on the similar tune pattern, but they're just as quick in a straight line. But when you get to somewhere like the Northwest and the TT, especially the TT, it's 37 mile long, you know, and you're just carrying momentum. So if I was going to pick a bike out the two, the other, like the 600 wear-on's like 130 something, but the 636 can get up to nearly 140 out of them.
Right.
So I'm thinking, well,
just from watching from the sidelines, the 600, say like Ben Curry and Jack Kennedy, 600 look faster every track.
Yeah, no, totally. But I'll tell you what, if you watched Jack Kennedy last year, bet he's gone to Martree and Yamaha, but there's personal reasons, everything like that. I don't know why. But if you watched that 636, he was riding absolute shite out of that.
That's what I mean.
The chatter and everything.
The 600 looked a much better bike. That's why I don't understand why you're saying 636 prefer. In every way, it looked a better handling bike and faster than Ben Curry's.
But you see, that like with Vance and I now, we can't get that level of tune. But we can get a cheaper, higher level of tune with a 636 than that, just for the straight line up. I totally agree. The chassis will be more forgiving, but we don't have an R6, you know, like a full on.
So you're just waiting for the regs to be released, and if they're allowed 636s, that's what you'll be going on.
Pretty much, aye. So like, but the good thing is, you see, on that side of things, you can. I'm waiting for the regs to come out because if things have to adapt, because like. I think throttle, like airboxes and all that, everything's down to a fine tooth comb. So what would be ideal? What would be ideal is that you could put a 636 engine in a 600. But I don't know. I do
Also,
not know.
do you know how you asked me before about like my sort of realistic?
I'm going to win everything. I'm going to win everything, mate.
Realistic ambitions. Do you have any sort of realistic targets, or would you prefer not to talk about it on any of the bikes?
Well, I've always been realistic with my racing. Always been realistic, and even like going backwards. I never thought I'd even get into racing. I bought a bike, and got into a club race, and I went, I'm going to stay at the North East Club and do 3 rounds for the rest of my life. Never ever would I thought I'd get to the Manx Grand Prix, even though it's been a dream. Got to the Manx, and my old man said, why don't you have a crack at the TT? I'm going, I'm never going to get an entry. I got to the TT. My first rate, and I went from like a 74 mile an hour lap by myself, first one. I'm thinking, I'm never going to get over 100. And then that progression, and that's what I fed off. At no point have I ever got on a motorcycle and thought, I'm going to win. I am very open with everyone. But because of my nature, I haven't got that, I'm not sitting there going, I'm going to win. I get on a bike and go, I'm going to go for it as hard as I can. And that's where it's became an addiction for me. And I don't mind saying the word addiction. People use that as quite a negative thing, but I'm very proud of that. And I find that drive. And now we've gotten the top 10. TT, if I breach the top 6, I'll be over the moon, because it really, people say, that's only 4 positions. But in this game, if you look at the laps and the speeds and everything like that, breaching the top 6, 600 wise, can't see why not. Really can't see why not.
Mm. Without, do you know how you're saying about beating my drum without beating your drum? The last time you were on the 600, you had a decent finish and your bike was extremely slow.
Yeah,
in a straight line. So you were giving off I remember seeing the speed traps and you were giving off 10 mile an hour, 12 mile an hour, or something. So if you can get the 600 up to speed, yeah, like you say. Sorry, then what were you going to say? Twin?
And twin wise, it's a bit like you're competing. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this Norton element. Because that's a bit of a red circle for me. That Norton, you know what I mean? But and then Michael Dunlop, he's always an enigma in the sport. He always keeps his powder dry. If he gets on a pattern, let's see what happens. Jamie Coward is on the best Kawasaki on that grade. Period. You know what I mean? Farquhar's coming out the scenery again. So Derek McGee. He's a podium finisher, but it's super twin racing, and to be blunt, I'm capable of a podium. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to road racing, you need lady luck on you. And this is the first year I'm sitting here going, you know what? I'm capable of it. Mm. I am, on a super twin, I am capable of a podium finish. But it's about being on the day. I'm capable of it, but an ambition, that is an ambition. And that would be amazing. A podium in any of those would be.
In terms of, there will be some people either listening or watching that
laughing their oh my god, no son, there's not a bloody hope you're gonna get that.
I was gonna say that, having followed our listened to the podcast for a while, and they won't even be familiar with the 130 Club and that type of thing. Do you want to give just a quick rundown, and obviously what are you doing this year, continuing with the 130
Club?
The
130 Club started from in 2019, after doing 129.6
was it?
Yeah. Upsetting that, isn't it? Upsetting. And it's I tell you what, when you're talking about ambition, that's going to be the worst thing for us. So, going back to your question, it's the 130 started because you need money to take a step. Look at what this is what this whole episode is about. It's about every racer only gets sick of racing motorcycles because of the politics, and that politics becomes from ambition and drive and everything. If we were generally all happy about getting on a motorcycle, you would have stuck away your heart. Is that not a fact? You go do a race and I'll do 1 race a year and I'll be happy for the rest of my life. But it's certain individuals like all of us and all the racers listening to this, that is very much the problem in racing. You're I want more, and I want more. So the 130 Club started because of that. And I said, well, we need to get the funds in. So for 130 quid, you get a hoodie, a t-shirt, you get a poster and everything, and on the Facebook group. And I've got it now. All my club members that are listening to this now be going, fucking useless with that Facebook, but I'm useless with all of it. And to be fair, if I do put anything out, it is on the 130 Club, and I do apologise to you lot. But now that we're getting into the swing of things, now that the BMW news, so I've told them already about the BMW news, and now things can get rolling and we can stay very much up to date with that. But that started off last year. I've already spent that. I haven't asked for any more money. A lot of people have put more money in, like another 130 quid, because that money was already spent in preparation for 2020. And well, we're a long way away from that now, aren't we? So, but like I was saying, that's my fear is, when you set a target, I'm going to put, and I tell you what, that was one thing I learned a lot from this weekend. We went in that Super Bowl thing and I absolutely bollocksed it. I just tried too hard. I was pushing too much. I was making stupid mistakes. And that's my little bit of worry, really, to be fair. It's like getting back to the Isle of Man and yes, there's a bit of hiatus about it. There's you've had 2 years off, but in the same breath, that's not really an excuse. Yes, bed yourself into it. But we all have a year off. I know we get the classic, but that...
Well, the usual is a year off, and then we've missed 2 years, so it's 3 years. It's a year plus the 2 years, so it's 3 years that you haven't been there.
But you still get the quarter bridge turn right.
Yeah.
And there is that element now. If I don't get the 130 this year, I will be gutted. Because every year I've gone 2 mile an hour quicker every time I've gone. Every year. And that always comes in the senior race because I've calmed down and gone, right, this is your last time out, and you just flow and you get 6 laps and off you go. But that I am worried of because I want it so much. And I genuinely believe when I break that 130 once, I think I'll calm down. That is such an iconic thing for me. When I first started, I've always followed my dad racing, and at that point, I was growing up thinking, I'm going to go racing. Seeing John McGuinness crack the 130, the world went fucking mental when he did a 130. And I'm thinking, I'm never going to do 100 mile an hour. And I'm like a midget's dick off 130. And you think that in that lap, that was a gear change. And I can sit here and go, that's where the mistake was. Even now, 2 years later, I'm going, that's my mistake. That's my mistake. And that was on the ZX10 on a bike that, I had a great bunch of lads with no testing or anything like that, and the bike wasn't set up. It really wasn't set up suspension wise, but the bike wasn't set up, and I'm hopefully going to attack that a fair bit different. But I am nervous about getting that 130.
Do you know, this feels like an interview.
Yeah.
I've got a question that I'm dying to ask you, right? So 2 scenarios and you've got to pick one.
Yeah.
Would you prefer to break 130, do 130.5 mile an hour lap, but the winner, say Hickman, does 137, so you're 6.5 mile an hour off?
Yeah.
Or would you prefer to do 129, but the winner does 132, so you're much, much closer to the winner, but 129? Or would you prefer to get the 130 and be miles off?
130.
Would you?
And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm not... Nah, it's I'm not Peter Hickman. I'm not a Dean Harrison, they've got the full this, full that, and I would love to get to that level. I am working to try and get to that level, but I'm just doing it bit by bit, and time is an illusion that people almost restrain themselves to it, but I've got every year I'm learning, and I'm trying to do the best I've got, and I've always worked for what I work. I'm not going to go down that road again, but I worked my arse off to go racing, and I've not been in debt, and that's why this pressure pot's folding, because the pressure this year to be able to get to the Isle of Man, you have to be on the page. This year is so crucial for road racing. A lot of people do understand that, but a lot of people don't, because it's been 2 years off. And if people don't enjoy the circus as what they used to, that's a big issue, that. Mm-hmm. But going back to what you were saying, it's that 130 for me is so iconic. It's such a... And yeah, you've got Hickman going around at a 35. That's unreal. That is absolutely unreal. He's on the best bike and he's top of his game. He's a British superbike winner. But if I can do that 130 is really important to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to chuck everything at it to go get it. Chuck everything.
I know you're saying that, but it's if you don't do it this year, then it's another year, and it's not your
see, in the same breath though, a lot of riders have done that, and that's what is a repetitive issue. Not issues, the total wrong word, but you speak to riders like Burrows that we had on last week. He said, I tried for years to get that 125. And you think, Jesus, that, you know, you just get into that bubble of going, like, Ian Mackman, he's one of my best friends, you know, he did a 124, and you think, come on, and you're like edging him, come on, and you think, and trying to break them barriers is so hard. I think that's for every rider, and that's why I look up to you so much. Like, when I'm asking you questions, it's a bit like you have to change something quite drastically every time to go achieve that. And like that Isle of Man is it's a fantastic curse. It's just like you're going in, like, you know, you can do the big, but like it's a psychological break. Like, I can go around Croft, go around and go right. And then if someone like pulls up and goes, you can't do this, I'll go and do that. And that's the thing about the Isle of Man is, like, I'm watching going through, and you just tell yourself going, it's all about balls sometimes. You just go, right, go through it flat and see what happens. And like, you've got to be willing to go for that. And that's something I feel like I've got over a lot of other riders. I do, you know, just like, right, you know what? I'm just got like, cronk your body, right? You rise up into it. It's 6 back to 5th, but you can imagine them delays in time. Like, you short circuit lads are doing everything all at once. You're like robots. It's beautiful to watch. You're just going in, go bang, 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 then off. But the Isle of Man, it's literally, you're telling your brain to go hold. It's like Mel Gibson in Braveheart. You're like, hold, and you're going up, and you just go 6th, 5th, bang, straight back on it, and you're just going through, going, don't hit the wall on the exit. Like, coming through Ballygarry, like, I watched Bruce Anstey through there, like, on an onboard, and I pause it and listen to the engine notes. Michael Dunlop goes through there, and he's 6th, 5th, and I mean, mate, you can hear the valves tapping off it. Like, Jesus wept. And there's other lads that go through and they're off. And like, Cameron Donald went through there. And yet he's won 2 TTs, mind. He went through there, 6th, 5th. And it was quite lazy on the exit. But then that worked. And then you start thinking about, you can almost have too much knowledge in this game. You think, well, why did that work and that didn't? And you can overthink it. But I remember going through there, like, not lifting. Bruce went through there and he just went, and you could just hear the inertia changing the tyres. He's like, and you're like, he's held that flat. He's held that flat, and the only note change was the tyre wall. I went through there, right? I went there, and I'm thinking, I'm on a crappy 600, my own 600. I built with me dad. I've got a max and shock, standard, everything, brake lines, a lot, everything. I'm going, if Bruce can hit it flat, so can I. I tell you what, right? There's a hay bale on the exit. I rubbed my arse on that hay bale exit all the way down, and I just went, right, I've hit that flat on a crappy bike. The next time I came round, I hit it flat again, but I was in the middle of the road. Because your body freezes up, and you're like, you just lock on, and you're going, whoa, and you're trying to, like, tell you something, trying to tell your body to do something that it's not prepared to do. But then once you calm it down, it flows.
Do you know, I don't know if it's anything you've...
There'll be a load of people listening to Ballygarry this year going, is the taco rolling?
Hi. Do you know, in terms of like doing onboard laps in your head and like knowing what things, do you to like try and keep your mind busy in this massive gap that we've had on? Do you sometimes sit and do full laps of the TT in your head, or?
You know what? I need to do. I'm very conscious about that, and you know, I get sucked up in everyone else's bullshit. I need to start like sitting here now in February. It's like I need to sort myself out, to be fair, Chrissy. I massively need to sort myself out, because like leading up, you normally get in a pattern. It's like, right, January, just onboards. And I've got a system that I really like, how I watch onboards. I've done nothing of that. I'm thinking that's not good. And because with the 2 years off, I need to go to the Isle of Man again. Like, I've never drove over and done laps, ever.
I do fancy doing an Isle of Man tour sometimes.
Yeah, well, who we got over there? Right, Nathan Harrison's over there. He's going to go well. He's been out in Spain all the time at the minute. He's definitely allowed to go for. But we've already done Connor Cummins, but we could do him again. Who else could we get?
Paul Phillips in the flesh.
Paul Phillips in the flesh. Oh, Milky Quayle, Liam Quayle. We could get. We're doing an Isle of Man tour, kids. There you are. That'll lead up nicely.
Lovely. Well, I tell you what, we've got a few Patreon questions about thing. You didn't mention about the 130, so if people want to join in, just how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so just drop us a message on like Facebook, and I need to catch up on that sort of thing massively. Just need to get everything reordered. I've had to change stockers because they lost the old design as well.
Right.
So I'm having to reprogram all that and waiting for samples to get back in turn. So that's kicking off again.
We've got 18 messages. So
shut up, man. Yeah. Right, crack on with them, son. Crack on with them.
First one, Mark Prescott is just asking about the news. So obviously, I've already mentioned that, but I'll write on the Patreon page so they'll know early anyway. What are Dom's plans this year and what bikes will he be riding? So we've done that one.
Yep.
Liam Evans. So a question for Dom. With TT organised announcing smaller starting grids for races, do you think the event might lose some of its charm with less privateers being given a shot at racing the mountain course?
Not for the TT.
Yeah.
Like the TT is it's had to adapt every year to survive, and the thing is, it's like it's so easy to pick on everyone, isn't it? You know, you just think, and I'm generally gutted for them people that can't make it. I really am gutted, but people don't see that it's the little crap. It's that insurance element. Everyone's trying to fight for that insurance thing, and it's like the fact that we've got to change helmets this year for the FIM ones.
Yeah.
Arguably, this is my honest opinion. You know, that's something that didn't have to change for years prior. The RIs and the Shoeis and everything's been up to spec, but I don't know these facts. This is my assumption of the situation, is the fact that every year they have got to improve safety. They've got to. It's like any other business. You know, I'm in the tree game, you know what I mean? Every year you've got to spin up something to show someone that you're improving it somehow, even if it's minor. It's like, right, instead of writing with the right hand, we're going to go with the left because it gets rid of tennis elbow, some shite like that. But like that is massively stinging, even like myself and everyone. So them little changes, and it's like the reducing of numbers, it's making the paddock safer, because it may need to make paddock, you know, fire gaps between them, and it's all these little things. I don't think, as a spectator, because I've never been a spectator, I don't think it's going to be as damaging.
Mm-hmm.
I think the spectacle's just going to be as great, and I think, you know, them it's 10 riders less.
The races are probably going to be faster as well, aren't they?
I would say. Now, it's like the lapping situation, yeah. You know, it's just,
like... probably better all around.
Yeah.
Good question. Jesse Mortimer, I'll just give him a quick shout out.
He can ride a bike, that boy. Yeah, that boy can ride a bike.
He did very well on the flat track, but it was great to meet Alan Carter this weekend. Would be cool to hear a bit more about him and his role with you, Chrissy, as he seems to be a brilliant influence to have around. And for Dom, what will you be doing? Will you be doing much classic racing this year? So yeah, a few people have actually asked for Alan to be on the podcast, and he was on very early on, but
one of the Mark ones, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, we'll get him back on sometime soon. But yeah, are you planning on doing any classic racing?
Yeah, gonna try and do as much, like, just, it's that I plan everything around the TT, so everything after that is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That includes the Ulster and the Southern and everything. You know, I want to do it all. It just all depends on the money. But no, as far as the classics are concerned, I'll be definitely, hopefully, doing Pembrey. I'll be doing Tanragee with the Davies team. This is all with the Davies team. So I'll be doing Cookstown 100 with the Counton team, and then doing Tanragee. So I'm trying to think of which way that order is. I think it's Tanragee first, then Cookstown.
So you will.
I'm trying to remember that. Anyway, so I'll be doing Davies with the Tanragee and then Countons with the 600, which is good, yeah.
Class. I'll look forward to seeing you out on that. Andy H, has the podcast led to better sponsorship offers or ride offers? Also, a couple of favourite moments.
This whole episode's about...
Do you know, it's funny because it's probably, obviously the podcast grown in its profile all the time, and we're probably getting more privateer as this time goes on. But no, it's introduced us to some, well, I can speak for myself, it's introduced us to loads of great people, and I've managed to meet people through the podcast that have helped us. So for me, it's been fantastic in that regard. What about yourself?
Yeah, same thing. I think, you know, it's
130 Club and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that element of it, but no, like because at the end of the day, Chris, we've put all the work in, you know, like. But people just think because you've got this, people think you get loads of that. But it's not, is it? You know, it's. But at the end of the day, you get a lot of people coming up to you going, "Oh, you're doing good work, and you're getting this, and you're getting like." I do
also, although it is a lot of work and a lot of sort of tired nights and stuff. I do really appreciate the fact that we have this platform. I know a lot of, nearly all the other riders don't have like a weekly opportunity to speak to a load of people. So although it is, I do sort of see it as a sort of service to do it. I really appreciate having this opportunity, and I really appreciate the people that listen and sort of comment on things and stuff. It's actually like really, really nice.
And to be honest, when I was talking about the confidence about ringing people, I think this platform's giving us that confidence to actually go, you know what, I'm just going to give them a ring, and they go, are you Chrissy's mate? I can't, I'm Chrissy's mate. You got any brake pads?
Be honest, do you ring them up and say, hi, it's Dom from Chasing the Racing?
Have I shite? No, again, I'm Chrissy's fat mate, you know that?
Just quickly, by the way, me and Dom have just got these class new business cards, so if anyone ever sees us, come over and ask
just start tapping.
Because they're literally like, you just go close to a phone and then it brings up all the podcast like platforms now.
And it takes your credit card details as well. So we give you something and we get it back.
So we've got Peter Buchanan. Have you been keeping up with the MotoGP test? What do you think is going to be the dark horse? Who do you think is going to be the dark horse this year? I haven't massively been keeping an eye on it, but yeah, I've seen Vinales was leading on Thursday, I think it was, first or second day. By the time this podcast goes out, it'll all be a bit outdated, but I think Bastianini was fastest today. Haven't really been massively keeping an eye on it, but who's the dark horse for me? It's difficult, really. What do you have one?
You know who's kind of accidentally become a dark horse? Marquez. With this injury and the eyesight thing, you're thinking,
he crashed again today. I think he was 9th overall, but I think he's really happy with the changes Honda have made. So yeah, it's difficult to say.
So it'll be I think he's become a dark horse, even though he's won the championship, God knows how many times. But
Andy Graham, it's gone really quiet on what you guys are up to this season. Any updates? I don't know if any of the other patrons are up for a sponsorship deal between us, could put it out there. Well, we're kind of both running sort of like an individual. Well, if you have companies that people can help us both out, and if we've both got our sort of clubs as well for individuals. So it would be unbelievable. Like,
incredibly... you're part of my club without paying for a member, so you'll have to pay to be, and I'll join the pay to be part of yours.
Incredibly grateful for your support, Andy. There, so yeah, thanks very much. I do appreciate that, and. I'm just, I've put that idea about the little squares. I'm dreading someone puts like a really inappropriate.
Well, there goes my idea.
Have like maybe blurred out. So, can you drink rich energy through your eye? I wouldn't want to try that one, to be honest.
Give it a go anyway. Nice plug, by the way.
Ken O'Shea. Hey Dom, are you doing the 700 this year? 12 of us heading over in July. 700.
That's definitely an event I want to do. It goes without saying the Counton family aren't doing it, and for those who have tuned in and don't know that, it's one of my best friends, James Counton. He lost his life at the Southern, so the Counton team don't want to go there. And like I said many moons ago in previous episode, that they love the event, they think it's a great event, but they don't want to go back for personal reasons, and that goes without saying. So I won't be there with the Counton team, but I've already discussed, we've had a meeting, sit down with them, and they are more than like, right, Dom, if you want to go do the Southern, and if you want to go with a different team. And God love him, Fran actually said, look, I'd even lend you the bikes, but I said to Fran, Fran, I am not going anywhere on your bikes without you. That's not how I want to. I've learned, these last 2 years, I've learned so much about that, and it's about having the atmosphere, the right team atmosphere. And I think that's like, even jumping that back to you, because I think that's why you're going to have a shit hot year, because you've got the right people around you. And the good thing is, if you don't hit your ambitions or your targets, you've done the right thing by having the right people around you. I think it's an exciting year. But hopefully get to catch up with the Southern anyway. That'd be great.
Alex Hunt, what do you guys do to keep bike fit over the winter? Do you follow any other podcasts or YouTubers? I'll start with that one. Fitness, I've been recently working with a trainer, and it's the first time I've ever done that. I've always kind of done my own thing from when I was much younger, I was really into like loads of sports. So I was naturally like very fit without having to do anything bike specific. Over the last few years, I've not made a massive thing of my fitness really. Especially the year that I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, the year that I actually won the championship and had the most success, I started that season with a bad injury, which stopped us from doing any training whatsoever in the run up to it. And then by the time the season started, and I was that busy in between the rounds, so I pretty much didn't train that for the full off season and because of my injury, and then the full season. And ironically, actually, I had my best year. And at other times where I've put like a lot of effort into training and maybe not done so well, but it's not like the cause correlation thing. And for the first time, I've been unbelievably strict this winter so far, but completely different type of training than what I've ever done before. In terms of like a real structured gym workout, I've never done weights before. And I've always thought to myself, I haven't wanted to put on weight in terms of like bulking up. So I've never really done weights. And for the first time, I've been doing strength work, which like advised from my trainer. And I've actually been really enjoying it. For the last month or so, I've been, so every night after work, I'm in the gym. Sometimes I'm there for like 3 hours. Most nights I'm there between 2 and 3 hours. It's a huge commitment, but I'm really enjoying it, to be honest. So I'll sort of keep everyone updated on that. For the podcasts and YouTubers, I really like the Rich Energy sponsored podcast, Off Track with Dave Neal, who's one of our patrons. Similar sort of platform, the same sort of podcast to what we do. Also, so I like loads of podcasts that have nothing to do with bike racing. In terms of YouTube, I'm just trying to think I haven't missed anyone out there. In terms of YouTube channels, I really love all of Taylor McKenzie's stuff, Lee Johnson's stuff,
brilliant,
and 44 Teeth. Massive fan of the 44 Teeth lads. And I think that's more or less all of the sort of vlogs and stuff I watch. Oh, and obviously Billy Bolt and Tommy Searles. I like them. What about yourself?
Nah,
not
none of it. No, it's no, to be fair, it's just all I hear is chainsaw rattles going through my brain. So I've just never followed. The
TT have just released a podcast as well. Do you want to give them a quick plug?
No, not really.
You'll be a guest on there soon.
I don't think I will,
You will be, man.
Do you want to bet?
I'll bet.
Remember when we used to like openly gamble on air? Let's go back to these days.
I'll give a pound on it.
Piss off. Come on, you've got time. Yeah, pound. Bollocks.
A pound. So if you're on it before the TT, you owe me a quid. And if
put a fiver on it. I'm going to
fiver.
Right, here we go, champion. Billy. Speaking of Billy Bob, we haven't done the Speedway Challenge, and he's been practicing. There's 100 quid on that, and I do not have 100 quid to chuck at that bet. So, and he listens, Billy. Get it sorted, son. Get it sorted.
I do listen to some very odd sort of off, completely nothing to do with bike racing podcasts. But if anyone wants to know about them sort of podcasts, then just drop us a message. The patrons,
that sounded incredibly seeded. No, that's brilliant.
It's nothing weird. It's just nothing to do with bike racing. So what's got up to Luke? Hi, do you think? Hi. Who do you think could be the dark horses for the TT this year? I think James Hillier might win the Supersport as he is on an R6 this year. I think he will be strong, although he hasn't been doing a great deal of tarmac racing over the last few years.
But then he's always been like that.
Mm-hmm. For me, dark horses. And all the people that I think will do well are people that I would expect to do well. So therefore, by definition, they're not dark horses. So by dark horses, it would have to be someone that the majority of people don't think is going to do very well. And for that, a little bit of a curveball, although people will expect him to do reasonably well. Brian McCormick got a good chance of doing particularly well just because of A, being teammates with Peter Hickman, and B, having 2 years of full super BSB. You would expect him to be fair, reasonably strong.
In my opinion, he'll call me out for whatever it is when I'm going to say this, but he's the only one with the pressure on him from the outside. I'm not sure if that's a fair comment to say, but like you just said, I think he's on the biggest team. Period. He's definitely on the biggest team. He's on the best bike. He's been two years of British. And yeah, he's got absolutely everything in front of him, and you think, "Come on, Bennett, here we go." And I think he's going to go well. He's determined, and he can do it.
As a prediction, I do feel Davy Todd's going to be very strong. I just feel like he's had a few.
He hasn't announced what he's doing yet either.
No, but he'll have a top ride, and I do expect him to do very well. To be honest,
Definitely, I think my dark horse. I think is actually Nathan Harrison, Isle of Man local, and he's been putting in some serious track time. Like, go follow him on social media and stuff like that. And that, I think him, James Hind, and James Hind's not like a dark horse anymore, if you know what I mean. People are just seeing what he's capable of. He's been doing British. He's got the right amount of sponsors. He's got the right amount of finances, and he's doing the right thing. And what I like about him is, he's like the new Bruce. Yeah. He's like the new Bruce. He keeps his head down, plows on, and he's going places without a doubt. But I think definitely Nathan Harrison on that dark horse element, not as many people know about him yet. Yeah. Wait till he gets there, because he's got a brand new Fireblade. He's been plowing that thing round.
I'm expecting, I think Craig Neve will probably surprise a few people. And also I'm expecting, speaking of Super Sport winners, I fully, if I was a gambling man, my money would be going on Lee Johnson.
What, win?
For Super Sport, yeah.
Hickman's going to blitz it.
Do you think?
If he's on that 765, he'll just...
Do you think
there'll be no way in my mind? Lee's definitely got... Lee can do it, 100%.
Do you think Hickman will do 5?
I think he'll do the lot.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
No,
you'll get good, by the way, if anyone is interested in gambling, you'll get good odds on Hickman doing 5, but it is very doable.
That Norton is not being, there's been no testing on it yet, or as far as I'm aware, but he's got the infrastructure and he can pedal a bike round. There's no denying that, is it? But see, you know what? And I think I've mentioned this a few times, but the fact is, Dean Harrison is on Dunlops.
Yeah.
On the Kawasaki, everything like that. But the Kawasaki, you need it. Does the Kawasaki suit the Isle of Man as well? When you think about Jonathan Ray, he always pitches it into a turn, turns it, picks it up, fires it. Dean Harrison is an outstanding pilot solely because he's just riding the ears off it. And when you watch him, if you line them two up and you had to say which one wants it more, I would generally say Dean.
Definitely.
100% I would say Dean, you know what I mean? But then it's just like Hickman's so controlled, nice, calm, and
I do feel Hickman's got in terms of skill level, is
he is
quite a lot. I think, but I do.
He's been doing it longer. I
think Dean probably in terms of just pure grit and determination, probably would be willing to take more risks. I think
I couldn't agree more. And those Dunlops, there's not going to be as much sidewall movement, and it's going to be tasty. And then Dunlop, if anyone's going to chuck everything at it, when Dunlop wants to go for it, and he's always quiet.
Yeah.
But let's face it, when he rolls up on the grid, if he wants it, no one's going to die. It's we're back on the roads, kids.
Definitely not a dark horse, but I would just myself I would absolutely love to see McGuinness have like a real grit, like brilliant TT, and I don't see there's any reason why not. He's been doing well on the Ducatis
Is this his last year? Has he been open about that?
I've got no idea.
No, just the way... No. Yeah, we'll just have to ask him, yeah. But it's the way they're saying, he's doing another... the way they're releasing it in Honda and everything like that. And John hasn't really totally talked about it, but it's the way he's like, it's his 100th TT, and you're thinking, well, reading between the lines, I gotta hope this is not his last one. I really hope. But, yeah, just... I might be making mountains out of molehills on that one, but
I've not seen anything released about that. But yeah, I would absolutely love.
Imagine John winning the senior.
Honestly, it would be for me. That would
be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Ty Winton, Dom, when are we getting out on the pit bikes again? Have you got any plans for getting out on the little pit bikes?
Oh God, so Ty can go kick me arse again. You mean? There you go. But
is he quick? Is he?
Ty. Oh God, teeth, tits, and tan. There, he's flying. That lad, he's serious. The CR 150 lad. But no, I'm desperate to get out and do more. It's like I'm just with all this storm damage at the moment. I'm a yes man. I just say yes to everything. I need to dial that down. And I do need to get. I do, and it's
you didn't answer the training one. Do you want to mention anything about? Your job's very physical, isn't it?
But I need to change that attitude, you know what I mean? It's like even doing that fitness test. My fitness is there, but it's like the strength element, which is interesting. It's like my leg strength and that side of things. But I want to do more, like, obviously with that news, you know, like me riding my own BM, I'm not riding for the DC lads. And like I bought like their 450, like Dean lent me a 450 and I said, look, Dean, you know, I can see the element of it, and I had to go get a loan out to buy that 450 off him. But now I'm actually I've made a rod for my own back. I'm actually working every weekend now to pay for that, and I've like mixing my head up. So I need to focus more on my training. I need to do more motocross and then sell the motocross. So if anyone wants to buy a one lady owner, never ridden ragged bike come March, let me know, please. And I'll sell you that little 450. I need to do more riding. You know, I need to get on the pit bike more.
You lost loads of weight after doing some motocross, didn't you? Like some class fitness for you.
That's it.
Shirley Bimson, any updates? And have you any new merch coming out? In need of new sweatshirt? Well, we definitely need to get our heads together on that and come up with some new merchandise. So yeah, we'll say yes to that. We'll get something in the pipeline sometime soon. And final Patreon question, Tony Rolls, what are your thoughts on the new FIM safety rules regarding the kit as the TT? Also not a question, but thanks to you, Boasty, and the other patrons for a great day at the Flat Track School yesterday. Thanks very much for coming, Tony. And you've touched on it, but your thoughts, your sort of general thoughts on the new FIM rules?
Yeah, I think it's I'll tell you what, before I go any further, before I forget, get well soon to your dad, Tony, because he came to our Patreon day there, and we've lost the main camera down the middle there. Don't worry about that. That's the one that's out. But it's no, Tony, he had to go early to go see his dad. He's just put in hospital. So get well soon to your dad, first of all. But no, going back to your question, it's a case of the FIM ruling. You know, they're talking about chest protectors, back protectors. Like I say, you know, it would be so much. I'm not sitting in there with Paul Phillips, Gary Thompson, the insurers. No, I'm a guy sitting here in front of a mic, and I can only assume they're having to make changes to show that they're making the event as safe as they can. And unfortunately, it stung the riders this time. You know what I mean? It's this FIM ruling.
Realistically, though, would there be many riders that didn't have an FIM spec helmet?
Yeah, my God, yeah. Like, you know what I mean? I'm very, very lucky that I'm an RST factory rider, you know, and I'm very lucky that I get a suit and a helmet. Very, very lucky. But you think of the rest of the grid, you know, like I'm speaking like Forrest Dunn, you know, he's a really close friend of mine, but that's like 700 odd quid just on the lid, never mind the airbag suit and everything. And it's like these lads are comfortably in the top 50. You know what I mean? People who haven't got product support on that side of things, it's going to be difficult. But if you start whittling down all these events, you know, like the Northwest, the Ulster, there's not that many road races in the world when you think about it. You know, it's actually like it's a niche market who want to go out and do it, and it would be a shit event if there was only 15 lads in it, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a spectacle in any form whatsoever. So it's like that is at the end of the day, you know, it's about trying to make the event as safe as you can, and you know they have to show that they're doing something, and that's how it is this year.
Just a little shout out on one of the YouTube comments. It was from a good few episodes ago, but I always read all the comments, and I really appreciate, you know, like all the, even if it's just saying like really enjoyed this podcast and stuff, it's like really nice to see. But I did get pulled up on one thing, and I think it was a really fair comment, and that's why I'm doing a shout out for it. But we were talking about the TT. It was the Hickman one, and we're talking about minimum age, and I was saying although I don't compete at the event, so I'm speaking as an outsider, I do think a minimum age would probably be a good thing at the TT, around 25. And someone commented saying, doesn't that contradict, because I'm pretty much everything else that we talk about, I'm very much like a live and let live and like free choice type of person. And someone said, is that not a bit of a contradiction? And it got us thinking, and I thought, well, it is a massive contradiction to what I think, but that is what I can't hide what I think. I do think that, but it was a great comment because it's completely fair, and it does massively contradict most of the things I say. But yeah, no, it's perfect.
Play,
so it was good comment. Good comment. A few other quick shout outs. I just wrote a few down that we needed to shout out. You mentioned earlier about Dave from Hell Dry.
That they were ages ago, and they are brilliant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for people that don't know, if you just go on Facebook or Instagram, type Hell Dry, Dave Hell Dry is called, and lovely helmet dries, which he sent, one for me and one for Dom, but he does them the same like colour. Each one's an individual, each same colour as your helmet, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a few other shout outs that was said.
God, this is the problem. You get on the show and you go, what other shout outs? I think on my side of things, TT Cases, Steve Flash, he's always come through again, and the bobble hats have arrived. The bomb hat, the Christian Inn hats.
Yeah.
He was shouting about them.
How do people buy them?
Mate, I tell you what, at the moment, I'm in the middle of trying to sort that, but you know what I'm going to do? You know what I'd like to do? And this is going to piss off so many people, but I want you to come up and buy one off me. You know what I mean? And I know that's limiting the market and stuff like that, but I've only got like 100 and something off them. But it's like, you know what? I want to come up. I want you to have a chat with us and I want to get to know you a bit more. You know what I mean? I know it, and that's the problem. If there's someone in Russia, who would like one, obviously we can accommodate on that side of things. But it's a design that I'm not going to change for a long time. And let's get you to the events. And I'm always going to have a bag of them in the van, and just come up to us and we'll have a proper chat about it.
And the other
chat about a bobble hat. Yeah, it's a bobble hat, mate.
You said we very kindly got a message from HMY Customs, who do a boot design.
Yeah,
and you've sent a set of this year's race boots and getting a nice sort of design put on them. So a big shout out to him.
Hammy,
have you already done your design?
No, I just said, just go for it. He's like, oh really? And I just said, yeah, just do whatever you want. And I just said, well, if you need any reference, I like the colour. I like the colour green. I like trees and I like big tits. So I just said anything on that design front. Yeah, I did. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes up with these boots. It'll be good crack. So no, big thanks to him. Massive. Really looking forward to seeing the product on that side of things.
Yeah, well, it's been really nice just to do a podcast with just us two. And if anyone is still watching or listening, thanks very much for doing the full show. Now and again,
shocking your voice, we just rambled on.
Now and again, we do little sort of shout outs for things, but we do really appreciate anyone that leaves comments, shares, and also if wherever you listen to the podcast, whether it be like Google or Apple Podcasts, whatever, if it is possible to leave a review, really, 5-star reviews, we really appreciate that as well. But yeah, without rambling on too much longer, massive thank you to our sponsors, Colchester Kawasaki, and to all of our patrons. We'll have to get some sort of Zoom, whatever, some sort of
quiz. Yeah, definitely.
And have you got anything else to wrap things up?
No, I think come February, it's head down, arse up, and like you say, we've got a couple of cracking episodes coming up, like really, really high entertaining ones, which everyone's going to enjoy, and we're going to have to eventually get back on the road again, Chrissy, and get this all done.
Yeah, them next two, without spoiling it for you, the next two guests were definitely two of my favourite ones that we've done recently. Really good. So yeah, enjoy them.
But the good thing side of it is, I know I'm going back on what we were previously saying. At the end of the day, I'm looking for some financial packages. I'm very lucky that I'm doing all I literally need to get is an awning. That's the only thing I need to get my hands on. Just a pop up awning. But if any sponsors want to come on board for the roads element, please get in touch with me. But seriously, for you, Chrissy, just I'm gonna flood your inbox for you, because if anyone thinks they can help you out in any small matter of way, please get in touch with Chrissy. Tire racks, warmers. Sponsor a pack of tire warmers, or sponsor a set of brake pads, or anything on that side of things. Just flood Chrissy's inbox. You know what I mean? God love Grace, because she's in charge of a social media element, and she's doing an awesome job of it. So her phone will be going ping, 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 ping. God love her. But no, like you say, Chrissy, thank you so much to all our patrons, Colchester Kawasaki, and
roll on next podcast.
Roll on next podcast, son.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Take
Cheers,
care.
mate.
See ya.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.